Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Mike Graham.
Good evening and welcome to Plank of the Week. This is the one show where you don't have to worry about doing any judging because we do it all for you. And we have got, I can tell you, one of the most hastily arranged panels that you've ever seen. We have got Jeremy Kyle, we've got Alex Phillips, we've got Will Geddes, and we've got Chloe Dobbs. Welcome. It's got to be Keir Starmer, hasn't it? Kick it off with old Sir Keir.
It's
two-tier, never here.
He said there's plenty of housing.
Yeah.
There's plenty of housing for illegal migrants and for all the homeless English people. This is whilst we all know there's 1.3 million people on the social housing list. And he sat there and he went, and Dane, to be fair to Meg Hillier, she said,
she's all right,
where are they?
Yeah.
And he went, well, I'll write it down and give it to you.
He said he was going to write in like he was going to apply for a competition.
I mean,
he's the Prime Minister. What's he writing in for?
We're talking about a man who's running this country on the back end of that Afghan crisis, where also the other news, by the way, this apparent 23,900, one of them brought up to 22 family members. So Bob Seeley's not unimaginative thing that it could be 150,000.
There was one in the Telegraph at the weekend who brought apparently 150 members of his family.
What?
150.
150. So Keir Starmer, again, idiot, completely not with it, sits there and says, there's plenty of social... And here's the other thing. 1.3 million people on social housing list. I thought he said during the general election in his contract or manifesto or whatever, I'm going to build 1.5 million... Have they started building any houses?
They say they've built them already. That's another one of his lies.
Rayner's 170,000 homes behind schedule, and the planning approvals are at a 13-year low. So... that's the great progress Andy Byron has made.
So not much progress at all. Let's have a look at the actual clip. You might remember this from earlier in the week.
What other accommodation, precisely, are you planning to take over to provide temporary accommodation for families?
Oh, there's lots of housing in many local authorities that can be used, and we're identifying where it can be used. But I mean, look...
sorry, could you give us... have you got any examples you can give us?
No, but I'll write in and give you details.
Because I could say, certainly in a number of our local authorities, I'm already picking up from around the table, there isn't a lot of spare housing available. If there were, councils would be able to be dealing with it by now.
Well, exactly.
Well, exactly. Like he's agreeing with her that there aren't any, having just said that there are.
I don't expect anybody in this panel to support him, but it is becoming quite blatantly obvious. I read an article today, actually, in the Times, that said that they're out of their depth. He looks increasingly out of his depth. Like, he doesn't know what to say. How can you sit there and go, there's plenty of housing and there's 1.3 million people, there's veterans on the streets, does my head in.
This is the same guy who's made the sort of island of strangers speech. Yes, I stand by those words. And the Guardian went, do you stand by those words? I didn't write them. I didn't even know what was said. I don't think my speech... It's like... You've just confessed as the Prime Minister to just standing there reading an auto cue without knowing what it says.
And having not read it first, and not having had a conversation
Let's not forget the release of the sausages.
Do you know what? I had a really funny dream about him last night, and I can't look at him in the same way anymore.
Now, this happened between us once.
That was the other way around. You were dreaming about me.
I did.
What sort of dream was it?
Him or my one?
No, Alex.
Do we want to know, Mike?
Did you sleep with Keir Starmer?
No.
Was it physical?
Yeah.
How far did you go? Did you go past first base?
To be honest, from what I've heard, you wouldn't be his type anyway.
I know, but I did, and it was so weird, because in my dream I just felt so sorry for him and how useless he is that I felt the need to snog him in my dream.
So, gentlemen of the world that are watching Plank of the Week, you now know that the way to Alex Phillips' heart is to make her feel sorry for you and be a complete arse.
But I did, and then I
think it's called a mercy...
A mercy.
A charity one.
M&S.
Yeah, that's it.
But so I was kind of like, it did actually change my viewpoint. I was like, poor man, he can't be that bad. And I get into work and
I had a dream
do
about
the
you
show and I
once.
hate him again.
Can I just remind you that you are supposed to be a proper journalist and you're not supposed to change your view on the Prime Minister just because you've had a sex dream about him.
Yeah.
But, well, you know, sometimes these things happen.
Yeah, I
don't choose
Did you wake up frustrated that you didn't go further?
Sort of, yeah.
Did you?
In a weird way, a little bit.
This is also the same week, though, by the way, that they do all these announcements coming up to the final sort of, ending of the Parliament session, because as of Tuesday of this week, they're all off for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? And they introduced all manner of conversation into the the fact that they're going to crack down on the migrants now. Suddenly, the first day they're going to
be on holiday during the summer.
Did you love it when Richard III, Rachel Thieves? I mean, Rayner had gone, we've a problem with migration, and I went, oh really? And then Thieves went, and I quote in between the tears, I don't think companies should rely on immigrant labour brought in from another country. I'm at the screen going, but you started this with Blair in 1997. This is down to you lot, the start of it.
That crazy cabinet statement which Angela Rayner made this morning, which clearly a wonk in Whitehall had written because she doesn't do multisyllabic words.
No.
Was basically saying, well, the problem is the deindustrialisation of the country. Oh, yeah, that would be Ed Miliband.
Yeah.
The state of the economy. Oh, that'd be Rachel Reeves.
Yeah.
The lack of the trust in institutions. Oh, yeah, because you lied to us all about Southport. Now I remember.
Yeah, I know.
It's like they were just listing everything they'd done and said, yeah, there might be some riots and disturbances, just when they were saying Nigel Farage is inciting violence by saying there might be riots and disturbances.
If you weren't in a relationship and you had a different political persuasion, would you have a physical relationship with Keir Starmer?
No.
Join me after the break. We'll get
Yeah,
through.
This is going to be the to Jeremy Kyle
I'm
show
being asked to move
back.
this along. So, Diane Abbott, it's down to you.
Yeah, would she have an actual relationship with
Yeah, this is going to be a theme, isn't it?
It is. No, well, she'd probably prefer to go back to Magic Grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, she is being booted out of the Labour Party, isn't she?
Back on the old motorcycle to East Germany. Can you imagine anything more
Get down that
romantic?
allotment, get back on that marrow.
Sorry, the rest didn't go down the right hole.
Grandpa.
Magic Grandpa and his magical marrows.
Yeah, fancy going on the back of fancy a motorbike ride to East Berlin for his summer holidays. What do you reckon?
The marrow.
That
Oh
is
my God.
literally some
Can
sort
you
of...
get on with it?
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
why have
yeah.
you got Diane Abbott down?
Because, you know, she made those comments which she got booted out of the Labour Party for, claiming that racism against black people is the king of all racism and other racism just doesn't really
And
compare.
if you're Jewish, you can't suffer from race discrimination.
And then she said, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, the BBC gets hold of her now and does some big sort of, you know, we love you, Diane Abacus, who can't add up. You know, do you regret making those comments? She's like, no, because, you know, racism against black people is so much worse than anti-Semitism. It's like, oh, mate,
Right.
here you go again. And then she's like, well, the leadership wants to throw me out. I'm like, why did you just do that? You want to go back and hang out with Jezbollah.
Yeah.
That's why. Go join the Fruit and Nut Party.
Isn't she going to go and join that Fruit and Nut Party, isn't she?
You'd expect so.
You
I
would
haven't
think
heard
so.
it, but...
Yeah. I mean, you would imagine that she
Probably
would.
doesn't know where the office is. She's probably wandering around.
Yeah,
the
we've
party
actually got a clip of her
With two
adding
left
up.
shoes
With her
on.
two left shoes, yeah.
We've got a clip of her adding up. Check this out.
We would find the money to recruit the 10,000 police people by we would find the money, and that would give us, I think, 170,000. Sorry. We would find the money.
Wow.
Something like that. How many police again?
Good old Diane
She
Abbott.
lost me after 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was so boring to listen to.
I know.
And did you see the video recently where she's trying to get out of a gate?
Yeah.
in Parliament?
yeah.
We had it
And
on
she
Plank of the
just
Week.
Needed to push it one way, but she was pushing
Yeah.
it the other way, and a member of the public had to
Somebody
come
just
and help
came up
her.
and did that, and she was
Mid-bell.
able to walk out.
Don't make
she
me
was
feel.
pushing it the wrong
Don't
way.
make me feel sorry for Diane Abbott, because you know what happens.
Yeah, you don't want to have that dream.
Oh,
That's for
I think you
sure.
need to go to therapy.
No, I'd
I
like to hear about that, to be honest.
Now listen, Will Geddes, you've probably got the story
I think
of
I've
the week.
got the shoe-in,
You've
haven't
got
I?
the story of the
I've
week.
got the shoe-in.
We'll see about that.
Well,
see about
you know,
that.
we've heard of great comedy acts,
Yeah.
duos over the years. We've had Morecambe and Wise, Hale and Pace, to name just a few.
Great and
And now,
Grant.
of course, we have Cabot and Byron, the jumbo cam, whatever they call
Jumbo
it, kiss
cam, yeah.
Jumbo cam,
Yeah.
kiss cam, and I don't think any of us have missed Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot having their intimate affair
Yeah.
for the whole world to see.
Shall we
and now
might as
be
well just
memed
look at it
everywhere.
first up,
Yeah.
shall we? Just to remind ourselves of what happened.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
And of course, to make matters worse, the woman in
Yeah.
the question was the HR
Hey,
boss
John, I
of the
to be honest,
company of which he was the CEO.
I mean, to be honest, anybody who's going to be the one person who should have put the kibosh on that should have been her, to be fair. But also, I think that the fact is this is such
Yeah,
a
shouldn't you
good
have told
example
him
of
it was
the
an
internet.
inappropriate relationship
Yeah,
to be
I mean-
having in the company?
But I mean, it just shows the power of the internet and how the swarm culture can take
Right.
effect. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, if you're going to have an affair, there are plenty of places that you should
Yeah.
perhaps be doing it, not really at somewhere where you are immediately going to be.
Well,
put up
also,
on a big
apparently,
screen
it was in Boston. It was a Coldplay concert in Boston.
Yeah.
It was a works outing, effectively, as well. So they weren't even hiding the fact that they were having an affair with the people that they were working with.
I
right?
think the biggest mistake that he made, apart from shagging the woman from
Yeah.
HR, was trying to blame Coldplay online.
Yeah. In his statement.
This is my privacy.
Look
you
at that
can
picture.
put-
That
look
is
at
classic,
that.
isn't it?
And
That is brilliant. But also, I mean, I've seen pictures of his wife, and as
She's a
often in this
smoke
case,
show.
his wife's a beautiful, gorgeous woman. Much better looking than she is.
And available.
Well, I don't know actually. I actually don't know.
And very
Don't know
rich.
whether-
Very rich.
I don't know whether they've split up yet, but I know that he waited a couple of days. First, they fired the guy that organised the tickets, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
fired him because
Why?
they said
Why
he
did
should
he
have
get-
known better than to book tickets so that they could be
I
exposed.
don't think throwing the intern under the bus is going to get him away
that's
with
really
it.
a bad idea, right? So he's probably going to sue the company. He's now resigned from the company, which was, I think, was called something like astronomy or astronomer or something like that. I don't know what they did. Some
Spaceships.
kind of an AI company, I'm told.
Yeah.
So amazingly, they should have had an AI sort of person doing it instead. But so I don't know whether his marriage is over. But
No, apparently, she released a statement.
The wife, what she did is rather than put out some big angry message and make it all public, she just went on Facebook and straight away just took her last name off her Facebook.
And she released
I think was beautifully done.
She released a statement as well.
It was the coolest thing you've ever
It's
read.
really-
I haven't seen that.
You won't see me cry or shout or scream. I'm better than that. You can go and basically says to the bloke, you can go and shrivel up and die for all I care. I'm going to take you for every single penny and you can rot in hell.
I'm going to
But
bury
she
you.
didn't say any of that, but that's
What I find quite bizarre, though, is Cabot, the HR lady, her husband has completely escaped any kind of reveal whatsoever.
Right.
So I don't know what the story is there, but he's
I love
vanished.
the fact that these are just randos who nobody knows, of absolute zero significance.
But now
And because
everybody
they're caught
knows
having
them.
an affair, the nature of humanity is like, I need to know every dirty detail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the that's the world we
He'll
now
never
live in,
work
isn't it?
again.
And also added to that, have you seen there have been former employees of his who have come out the woodwork putting out reels and saying what a SH1T bag he was and what a horrible
Tried
boss
it on
he was
with
and
me.
everything
Give me $15,000, I'll prove it. Right.
I know.
this
Absolutely
guy
ridiculous.
has not escaped. But I think anybody who's going to a concert in future is going to be careful.
The other
They've
thing that,
taken
of course,
their mistress
happened.
or their,
the
their
other thing, well,
boyfriend.
just don't do it.
Side piece.
I
if
love
you're
the security angle from
Yeah.
Will Geddes. If you're in an affair, don't go to a concert. It could be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram for more
because
tips.
if your wife
later
finds out, she
today.
might come and kill you.
And I'll be there for you to protect you.
Exactly right. But this is the other thing. I mean, the thing, because of the world, the new sort of, online world that we live in, there was all these memes that are still going.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think we've got one here, which involves our favourite Prime Minister. Who he is.
Is that Lord Ali?
Over to you. You've got another couple, Peter Hedger and Katerina Dimitrova. Are they having an affair?
They're not having an affair, but they very naughtily took an unauthorised holiday from their work at Waitrose, and they got in trouble for it. So they went back to the ladies' home country in Bulgaria, and I believe they even extended their stay there without asking for any permission. And sure enough, they get back to work and they are in trouble. And as you can quite clearly see here, these are two white individuals, but they got a little bit of a tan whilst they were away, I believe. So they decided to sue Waitrose for race discrimination because they got a little bit tanned on holiday and they've argued, when we were white, we were employed by Waitrose and we got a bit of a tan and then they wanted to fire us. So it must just be about the colour of our skin, not the fact that we ran
They
off on holiday.
they actually found a lawyer to represent them with that rubbish.
I love
Brilliant. Working the system.
Yeah.
This actually pleases
Probably got Lord Hermer to represent them.
Probably, yeah.
I actually want to
Human
give
rights
them
issue,
Heroes
isn't
of
it?
the Week awards.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
I think it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
That's
Time to troll the
I didn't
system.
even hear that.
Insane.
That's unbelievable. Did they win?
No, they lost.
Thank God
Judge
for that.
wasn't having any
Nice
of it.
try, though.
luckily.
But I mean, imagine people tell us all the time that the legal system is rammed. There's no place to get a case heard. It's a sort of 76,000 backlog. People are
because of
waiting
idiots
for
like
years.
this
Because of
running up
these
the
kind of
backlog.
idiots. Imagine
Yeah.
getting to a court with that story. It should never have got to a court. Should
No.
it? Absolute waste of time.
But then
Incredible.
again, there are loads of people who are exploiting the system. So I think we should all exploit the system.
Yeah.
There are.
Is it
It's
'cause
set
I'm
up the way
white?
it is.
Yeah.
know
There's
what's
too
like,
many.
is it
There's too many
because I'm
lawyers.
white?
I don't
Your
like
mate,
that.
your mate tells you, I got a few grand off work because I hurt my finger, and you think,
I
oh.
Because
don't like their
it'll-
sandwiches,
Okay.
their Waitrose, compared to M&S.
No.
No, M&S are better,
All right.
definitely.
Okay.
They've got
well,
the-
we're not
the
sponsored by
straw-
either, unfortunately. But here's the
got that
thing.
strawberry
Maybe we will.
The problem is there's too many lawyers in this country because there's always one looking for a
Ambulance
no
chasers.
win,
Yeah.
no fee. I'll take it on.
Contingency.
Oh, no, it's the
Chances are, 'cause
immigration lawyers that get me.
It'll get like insurance business, right? Where you just all you have to do is claim on an insurance thing, and you get paid out because they can't be bothered actually investigating it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All the publicity is
No,
gonna be
exactly
too
right.
great.
Anyway, coming up, we're going to talk about one of the great former union bosses, Len McCluskey,
This is great.
who apparently doesn't mind to have a private jet every now and again. as a hotel as well, and some more migrants. All coming up on Plank of the Week.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Mike Graham.
Welcome back to Plank of the Week, and we are already well underway with 4 very, very good nominations. I'm going to go now with Len McCluskey. Those of you who might remember back into the dark days of union power. Oh, sorry, we're still in them. Because,
yes, I was going to say.
I thought we got rid of all that. But Len McCluskey, the former head of the Unite Union, it turns out this week has accepted private jet flights and football tickets arranged by the same company which is building a multi-million-pound hotel for the union, according to an internal dossier.
Which went over by £30 million on budget, and this bugger signed it all off before he retired with a big fat pension. It turns out now he had flights and he had football things, and you should know this story because your sister's now in charge of Unite. She's Sharon Graham.
Sharon Graham, that's right, from a very far removed section of the family that left the Graham of Menteith clan many years ago, was kicked out. Yeah, the Flanagan Group, I haven't seen what they've had to say, but basically Unite have done a report saying that the flights and tickets were consistently organised and paid for by the company, and there was no indication that McCluskey had later reimbursed them.
They've dropped him right in it.
They've dropped him right in it, right? The spiralling cost of the Unite Hotel in Birmingham, which is supposed to be a financial investment, have hung over the union for years. The Serious Fraud Office launched an inquiry into it last year. I'm pretty sure this all started because I think I saw him. It was a Champions League final or something. He's a Liverpool fan, isn't he? And it was a Champions League final, which I think was in Spain. And suddenly it was another one of those jumbo cab moments, you know. This sort of suddenly the camera comes in. Oh, there's Len McCluskey. What's he doing there? And it turned out somebody sort of started looking into it, and it turned out he'd got there on a private jet, and you know. And it wasn't the first time he'd gone on a private jet. And it's amazing, isn't it?
The hypocrisy is unbelievable. Something that has been on at anybody that said not as far left as you want. They've all got their noses in the trough. Should be an inquiry into this. I think the good thing about it is Unite the Union have, as I said, dropped him right in it. I think he's right. He should be made to pay that back.
Yeah, he should. I mean, also, apparently there was a £400,000 union loan made towards the purchase of a £700,000 flat for Mr McCluskey, which apparently was not authorised by the Executive Committee in advance. So he's been benefiting from this for quite some time.
That would be insider trading, wouldn't it?
This is always the way
it's one thing to be on your moral high horse about dedicating your life to politics to help people, and then you get into power and Lord Ali gives you a load of free stuff. But I feel like for a union, that's on a whole different level. I've dedicated my life for standing up for the working classes who are out there in the trenches.
But they've done it for years. You remember Bob Crow?
But he's getting all this free stuff.
Bob Crow used to live in a very nice kind of well-appointed flat, which was actually a housing association flat, but he got it gratis because of his work for the union. Same with Arthur Scargill, who used to have a place in the Barbican.
Have I got 30 seconds? Something happened to me on the train today. We don't like ASLEF, obviously, because they work 4 days a week, 80,000. Sat on the train. Next to me, an ASLEF driver. I thought this was going to be painful. Who turned around and went, "Can I just say what you and Mike do and the people on Talk is absolutely brilliant. I hate this union. I hate what's happening with this country. I love Talk." And I was like, brilliant. No, honestly, I said, I meant he loves Plank. He loves. He said, "We need a revolution." Brilliant.
Presumably that's why he's not driving the train.
No,
they probably
he said, "I'm just going to Southampton today, trade a couple of people, and going home." Brilliant.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I mean, he's represented by Carter Ruck as well, Mr McCluskey.
They are now. I know Carter Ruck.
Carter Ruck.
Very expensive.
They're saying that Mr McCluskey is deeply disappointed by the statements in the report published by Unite, which McCluskey claims were issued without any prior reference to him. They say, "We are instructed that the scheme did not require prior approval from the Executive Council on a case-by-case basis."
He's in trouble.
So I think he is in a bit of trouble. So he took flights to watch Liverpool Football Club play in 2018 and 2019 Champions League finals in Kiev and Madrid. McCluskey also received tickets for 5 Liverpool games in the UK, 4 of which included match day hospitality.
Let's
talk about champagne socialism.
What's the name of that solicitors?
Carter Ruck. Here's a little clip of Len McCluskey in Happier Times with Piers Morgan.
It's not a puppet show, Len.
It's not a puppet show.
He's allowed to answer for himself.
Of course he is.
Well, let him answer.
The reality is...
Let him answer, Len. Don't talk for Jeremy Corbyn.
All you want to do is bully people.
Who am I bullying?
You're bullying constantly.
There's 2 of you.
OK.
Piers. One's run a party in the country. One's run a major union. Are you really feeling bullied, Len McCluskey?
I'm not.
I remember when this actually happened, Corbyn came out of the studio absolutely fuming because they came in, believe it or not, to plug a book about poetry that they put together. Socialist poetry. Do you remember that night?
Piers is in the dressing room next door to me going, I can't believe they've swallowed this. Literally like, what the hell are you doing? And then Corbyn left going, I can't believe he had a go at me.
Yeah.
No, Sherlock, really.
Because obviously it was after October the 7th in 23, and he said, you know, why won't you call Hamas a terrorist organisation? And why won't you condemn what they've done? And of course, Corbyn, being Corbyn, couldn't bring himself to do it. And so that was where that bit came in, when McCluskey then just started jumping in. But so Len McCluskey, champagne socialist, and he says that he described the company's bosses, this Flanagan Group, as good friends.
Right.
So that's all right then.
He needs to be worried about the Flanagan Group and the people of his old union who are... They'll make an example of him. Good, good.
They're obviously out to get him.
Good.
And so maybe Carter Ruck won't be able to help him. Jeremy, over to you. Metropole Hotel.
Another jumbo cam moment. There seems to be a theory here. We've listened, haven't we, over the weeks about illegal migrants and months about what are you doing?
I'm taking your notes away.
Let me just explain to you, people aren't watching. At my age, a few little notes. She says if you're any good at this damn job, you wouldn't have any notes.
Yeah, I've got cryptic crosswords.
It's right.
Yeah, I can multitask.
Yeah, but you've been colouring.
She's not used to doing all this work during the week.
Can I just say,
I think she's gone a bit mad.
Job I worked the whole time.
I know. Did you start the show by shouting Joey? I have a feeling you did.
I don't know what you're talking
No, he
about.
said Dobby.
Yeah.
Dobby.
Anyway, back to the
Illegal
Metropole
migrants,
Hotel.
we've heard that they work illegally for fast food chains.
Yeah.
They're all ripping us off. This week, ladies and gentlemen, we reached the most amazing bit. 2 illegal migrants were caught making an OnlyFans porn film inside a taxpayer-funded hotel. The romp happened. This is great. The 18th century Metropole Hotel in Blackpool. It's been there since the 18th century. They were going for the big one. Obviously, there we go. I thought I'd drop that in. The Syrian man was found romping with a woman. Actually, from behind, it says it. On camera during a room inspection by astonished staff. We thought they might be just sitting there having a sandwich going, thank God for letting me into
housekeeping.
It's a tripod. There's lighting. There's one of his mates holding the light going action. And this guy is going for his life. And they're selling it online, and we're paying, whilst 2 Syrians and a woman are making a porn movie. We're paying for this.
Taxpayer-funded porn. That's the way forward,
it is the way forward, because, I mean, you know, do we feel good about spending money on tax?
Well, apparently OnlyFans contributes more to our economy than the fishing industry. So,
oh, really?
I like the analogy there.
Wow.
Between OnlyFans and fish.
And how do you know that, Dobbo?
I read it in the news.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
No, that was from The Spectator.
I mean, apparently the room was also full of sex toys, which have presumably also been bought with all the vouchers that they've given.
Do you not remember that story?
Taxpayer-funded sex toys.
Do you remember that story 2 months ago? Nearly dribble then. There are reasons why...
Is this the Iraqi sex toy sale?
He said, I can't leave. And they said, why? The lawyer said, well, he's got a sex toy business. And if he had to go back to Iran, they're not allowed under Sharia law, so business would go bust. He sells vibrators for a living, and he got to stay in the UK. You remember this story?
Do you know what? One of my amazing memories of you growing up was a clip from your brilliant former show, The Jeremy Kyle Show, and you had a guest on who had got his missus a vibrator out of a skip.
Oh.
Anyway, so I just...
I had an email the other day.
You're going to say something else there.
I had an email the other day from a vibrator company asking if I would advertise their products on my social media. And I was like, I do politics. What do you...
I bet you were absolutely buzzing after that.
I've never had that.
I declined.
I've got a lot more followers than you. Never enough to be
I'll send them your way then, Mike.
Yeah, do that.
I'll send them
I don't
your
mind.
way.
I'll be sponsored.
He'll be the Keir Starmer of broadcasting.
Now, we've got a little clip here of Blackpool MP Chris Webb demanding that migrants leave a hotel. I don't know if it's the Metropole Hotel. It is. Have a look.
It's time for the owners of the Metropole to take action. That's why I'm leading the charge to demand that this hotel should be closed as an asylum hotel immediately. It must be invested in and return to its original purpose as a destination for holidaymakers and locals.
As a destination for holidaymakers, you don't think it was being used to film OnlyFans content in the past?
I only look at that, a man who is a member of Parliament and completely incapable of reading an article, and think he's exactly the sort of
Also
man that would
standing
probably
there.
buy that porn,
He's also
isn't he?
standing there like,
I would
you
like
know,
to say that
with
we
his
He was
arms
just Keir
They always have
Starmer in
to
a
do
different
that thing
outfit.
with their
Yeah.
hand, which is just really weird. Isn't
Somebody must be teaching them to do
Oh,
that.
it's the Tony
someone
Blair
told me
thing,
that they
isn't it?
do get taught to do that. They actually
Yeah.
do get told in the Conservative Party to do that with your hands.
It's like presenters go like that. They look straight at the camera. You can move, mate. That, you know, in life
Yeah,
you do.
you do.
You've seen them like that. And
Yeah.
I like going.
Oh, I know. It's mad. But, I mean, you know, this migrant story now is reaching such ridiculous proportions. I mean, it's dominated everything. We're going to be talking later on about the Essex Police. We're going to be talking about, you know, Pakistani migrants in a minute with you, Alex. You know, I mean, almost every single story now has got some migrant connection to it.
This Sun story that they did on this Metropole Hotel,
Yeah.
they also spoke to the manager there who uncovered this and some managers at other hotels. And some of the other stories were also hilarious. So one migrant stole the hotel Hoover and took it down to the local shops to flog it to make a few quid. And then there are other
I thought they were going to use that in the movie. You see, all sorts of things going.
My imagination was just going.
Oh, dirty people. And then the other migrants are hoarding all of the free food, like baby formula and all sorts of stuff, so that they can take that and flog it. And
Right.
I was
talking
entrepreneurial. I'll give them that.
I had a
but,
call this week from a guy who lives in that great big housing estate in Birmingham, something Vale, what's it called? Do you know it? It's the biggest
yes.
housing estate in Europe, apparently.
Yes,
called
I do.
something Vale. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was saying that there's a pub in the middle of this estate where everybody goes, and it's full of migrants because they go there with vouchers and they go and eat there for free because they're given vouchers to go and spend in the nearby hostelry.
Went to a supermarket this morning. Genuinely, you know this thing where they put locks now on baby formula and everything.
Oh, yeah, and like lamb chops and stuff.
And steak.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
dishwasher tablets. And I went, well, I said, shoplifting's out of control. People are nicking dishwasher. It was in like a basket that was metal with a lock on.
Because they're selling them. Because that's the thing. Castle Vale, I think it's called.
Castle Vale?
Yeah,
maybe.
That's the one. It's the biggest. But apparently, it's full of migrants now because they're living in houses.
Yeah, I know
there.
the place. If there was an earthquake there, it'd do £1 million worth of improvements.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's a bit like Afghanistan, back to the Stone Age. How do you know? But here's the thing. You know, every single story now has something to do with migrants. So over to you, Alex.
I've
You've
got
got
in my
the
head
latest.
a little song, actually.
Have you?
Migrants, migrants, talking about migrants.
Are you on some kind of drugs?
I've just come off 3 hours of presenting. It makes you go a bit loopy.
No,
and
it
then,
doesn't.
You know, sitting
It doesn't make any of us go loopy. I do 4. I'm fine.
Why am I being blamed?
I don't know, because you're there.
Are you just full of adrenaline? Is that what
I
it is?
think so,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, tell us about
She's full of
Pakistani.
Keir Starmer memories.
I know,
Tell us about the Pakistani migrants.
So it turns out that Pakistanis are spending £50,000 to come to the UK to fill out all these dodgy visa forms. The Home Office knows they're dodgy visa forms. And the reference it gets, you know, so people are flinging out going, yes, this person should come work in your company because they're nice and we wish them well. And they're just like, yeah, rubber stamp, off you go, come to Britain.
Amazing.
But £50,000?
But the reason they must be spending that kind of money is so that they can get them into the country and then they can get some of that money back. Because I think an awful lot of the reasons why we get told, all these people smugglers are making a fortune. Yes, they are, but a lot of the times they're getting people in who are then having to work in the black market or work for some drug company, you know, or drug gang, and that's how they get their money back. I mean, I heard an amazing story this week of some reverse smuggling, right? Where there's an outfit.
Was that in the video the Syrians made?
No, that's something else. Thank you very much for reminding us, though. No, this was people who were getting people to fly in from Africa on work visas or student visas, right? And then smuggling them back out of the country into France so that they could get on a dinghy and come in illegally, right?
Oh, my God.
I'm not joking. This was a court case. People were actually found guilty of people smuggling in the opposite direction because it's worthwhile for them to do that.
What's happening to our country?
I don't
seriously?
know. I mean, it is literally falling apart of the seams.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the word from the government this week was it's fraying at the edges. It's doing a lot worse than that. You know, it's rotting from the middle, isn't it?
I spoke to a veteran who was fundraising outside the supermarket yesterday, and we had a good chat, and he was absolutely furious. And he's there trying to fundraise for his mates that are all living on the streets, whilst you've got all these people being put up in hotels. And he said to me, I'm going to go to France, and I'm going to get in a dinghy and come back, so as a veteran I'm taken care of.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
Well, so many
Where are our
ordinary people are
priorities?
in touch with us
Actually,
now.
that's a really good idea. Maybe we should ship a whole bunch of veterans over.
Yeah, it's an absolute stain on our society, the way our veterans are. So I don't give a damn who gets offended. You've got people coming coming from other countries and people who fought for Queen and King are on the streets. It's rubbish, man.
Yeah.
It is
disgusting.
rubbish. But the thing is, so many people now are also getting to the point where they're going, I don't even know why I'm working. There was a plumber who said he's going to Greece. He's going to say, you can do a plumbing job anywhere. He says, I'm going to go to Greece. I'm going to move there. I'm going to start a business there. He says, because why should I be working here when every single piece of money that I earn gets taxed? And it's not just rich people who are moving abroad.
No, I know
everyone.
loads of people just leaving in droves.
But it goes beyond this, and you're bored of it. You've heard me say it many times. So you now get people phoning the whole time going, so let me get this right. I paid my taxes, I've stayed within the law, I've never asked for a handout, I pay my bills and I try to bring my kids up. I do everything right. This lot come in, do whatever, get far more. Why have I lived my life the way I've lived my life?
Yeah.
Why have I done correctly?
It's so crazy. Like, when you think about it, if someone said to me, here you go, Alex, for £5,000, you get to go to Lanzarote, we'll put you up in a full-board, 4-star hotel.
With a jumbo camera
you can work on the black
side
market, pulling some pints that don't pay tax on it, cash in hand, and it might be 2 years. And then when you come on to the end of your 2 years, we'll give you £3,000 to go back.
Yeah.
I'd be like, bye.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Exactly. But that's the other thing. I mean, going back to the visa story, people are being allowed into this country as skilled workers, as things like magicians and DJs and, yoga instructors. I'm not joking.
What?
There's even HR chiefs in there.
No, they're at Coldplay.
You know what they've taken off the list is chefs. So when people actually really need people to come here and work in restaurants, because that's what an awful lot of.
But I thought they were all doctors
need.
and engineers.
No, they're not. No, they could be anything. But so now all the restaurants are running out of staff.
Isn't the bigger answer that we've got millions of people on benefit who should be encouraged, trained, or kicked up the backside to go and do those jobs rather than import people?
Well, that would be nice too. I mean, we don't need to import magicians, do we? I mean, I don't trust magicians anyway.
They just appear. That's magic.
Well, I told you that guy that came up to me in Borough Market and he said, do you like magic? I'm a magician. I went, can you make yourself disappear? And he went, that's really funny. You think that's the first time anyone said that? I went, go on, bugger off. Anyway, off we went. Coming up, we're going to talk about Dale Vince, one of our favourite eco-centric persons, and also those doctors who are still going to go on strike. This is Plank of the Week.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Mike Graham.
Welcome back to Plank of the Week. It's down to the final three, and Will Geddes, over to you. Forest Green Rovers, Dale Vince.
Forest Green Rovers. Now, we've got two interesting stories here. We've got the story which Dale Vince has been involved in, which I think is probably to try and draw crowds to his somewhat failing team, which were relegated last year.
Yeah, out of the Football League, right?
Out of the league entirely. Who the Forest Green Rovers, who have a rather bizarre football kit. Funnily enough, for a vegetarian or a vegan, it is actually a big cat print on the shirt, which I don't think big cats are generally.
People are saying it looks like something you'd wear at a rave.
Yeah, I think big cats generally eat meat, don't they? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
anyway,
they do.
So Dale Vince is connected to these two particular things. There's obviously this fantastic new kit, which I'm sure the kiddies will want this Christmas. And the second thing is him working with a GP to try and encourage people who have depression to go to football.
Yes.
Personally, not a big football supporter myself, prefer the rugby, but apparently football can cure, by that sense of community, people's depression.
This is a doctor who's the doctor who's now an MP, I think, right?
Indeed.
And he's come up with this idea that he's going to prescribe football tickets, right?
Yeah.
To people who say they're depressed because it will cheer them up.
Is that why Len McCluskey got so many?
Probably, yeah. But he's depressed now that people have found out about it. But I was saying, if you want to cheer yourself up, you don't want to go to Forest Green Rovers where they're not playing very good football.
Fully sustainable club, but they couldn't sustain league status.
Exactly, very true. And it's also any fully vegan club, so you can't even get a pie and a pint.
No.
You get a sort of piece of cardboard to eat, and you get told it's good.
And isn't he the one as well who sided with Millipede and said that anybody that's anti-net zero could essentially face criminal charges?
Yeah,
he calls them,
isn't he?
Calls them climate change denier.
And he wears that scarf. Is it a Palestinian scarf?
Yeah, he's got that kafir thing going on. He's got the official uniform.
That's the stuff I drink, though, when my stomach's bad.
Kafir?
Yeah.
But I mean, this whole sort of the initiative of basically people who are depressed, here are ways to fix your depression, so go to football for free tickets. But they have all sorts of other things, going to comedy shows, for example, to cure depression.
Is the taxpayer paying for
Yes,
these trips. Okay.
they are.
If it was the GP just saying go do some fun activities, I completely get
no, I think we all
sport
do,
and
yeah.
seeing people is a
Right.
good thing.
Yeah.
But should the taxpayer pay for it?
No, this is all the taxpayer
He's
that's going to
doing
be
this
paid
on
for it.
prescription, so presumably he's giving it to people who don't even pay for their prescriptions, right?
As far as I understand, indeed. So, I mean, this is all going through, again, the taxpayer system. So rather than any of us who do suffer a bit of depression, we deal with it by watching Netflix or going to see our friends for a drink or whatever it might be. No, let's again bleed the system dry as everybody else is. For some other way.
But this is, I mean, to go a bit deeper into this prescription business, I mean, people get prescribed shampoo. People get prescribed,
What, for depression?
Yeah, Not for depression,
but general.
in general, if you go to the doctor and you make out that you haven't got very much money, they'll prescribe stuff that you would otherwise be buying in a chemist, right?
But it wasn't that long ago we learned under the Motability scheme that people were given a free car because they can't take a dump.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely, the Motability
Sorry, can we just rewind?
Can we rewind
because
that?
they can't take their rubbish to the dump.
No, because, so the Motability scheme where you can get a free car because you're anxious or you've got ADHD or whatever, you can get a free car if you're constipated.
What
happened to me?
I mean, you'd think you'd need the car for the other way round, wouldn't you? You've got to get somewhere quickly, not you sitting there going, oh, this is going to be
So
another week.
with Crohn's disease could in fact get a Motability car.
You probably could.
Yeah.
You probably could.
I'm going to get one then.
Yeah,
excellent.
Everybody else, I mean, 1 in 5 new cars, I think, out there on the roads is a Motability car.
That's full of people trying to get to the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's shocking.
so weird.
Absolutely shocking.
So I'd be interested to see this whole sort of football tickets prescription, whether in fact, and again, I'm speculating here, but whether there's any sort of the cost of those tickets, do they cost anything? Or is that completely free?
I presume you have to buy the ticket. I think Dale Vince was donating the tickets.
Was he donating?
At the risk of, I don't want you to upset Mr. Vince, for a team that is sustainable, that couldn't sustain league status and presumably doesn't have many big crowds, do you think actually it's a devious ploy to try and get people to go and watch Forest
I think
Green
it
Rovers?
wouldn't be a
Possibly.
surprise.
I
If
don't
that's the
think
case.
that's
Do you know the
necessarily
stadium
out
is made of wood?
I mean,
not
honestly, I
joking.
nearly swore then.
The stadium is made of wood.
Bugger off with
I
your
know.
vegan rolls and
I
your
know.
wooden stand.
It is mad.
Your team's crap and the kit looks awful.
Yeah, I
Sue
think that's
me.
one of their chants.
The team's crap and the kit is awful.
It looks like the sort of pyjamas you buy down Asda, doesn't it?
Everyone that I know who goes to football on a regular basis says, the worst thing about being a football fan is that it's so depressing. Because unless your team's winning all the time, which inevitably it isn't, you just always, I mean, there's great highs, but there's many, many lows.
It's like marriage.
It is.
And Mike, I don't know whether you remember,
Without
there was a campaign a couple of years ago, which was a suicide awareness campaign, which talked about you can't always detect when someone is actually suicidal.
Right.
And the whole thing was basically these two lads going to the football, sitting in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And there was the one who was always cheery and happy and everything else. And the other one's really sullen. And you're thinking, oh, well, it's the sullen one who's obviously going to top himself. And then the very end of the advert is basically the happy one having gone.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's a nice story, cheery story.
Happy story for you, that.
Chloe, you want to cheer us up with the doctor's strike?
I don't think this is going to cheer you up, I'm afraid. I mean, you are probably all angry enough with the doctors as it is, who have had the biggest public sector pay rise of anyone.
91% in 8 years, I think they've had.
Yeah, well, they had 22% given to them last year, which was huge, and then they've got another 5.4%.
Yeah, it's taken them up to about 28.
But that's not enough. They want another 29%, because apparently that will get them back in line with their real pay in 2008. But they aren't the planks. It is the consultants who I think have got even more audacity, because they want, whilst the doctors are on strike, to be given $6,000 to not work, but to be on call at home in case they need to be called in this weekend for 48 hours. So they can sit and watch the telly, they can do their gardening, look after the kids, whatever else, and get $6,000
video.
just in case they get called into the hospital.
I know. It's incredible. But that also
And then if they go into the hospital, they'll get paid on top as well.
I would respectfully suggest that the plank should be West Streeting. We know him, but listen, they walked into power 12 months ago. Within 3 weeks, I've sorted it out. I've given them this. This is going to bite you on the arse. It's bitten him completely on the arse. He's been made to look a complete and utter idiot by bending to everything they wanted because they've come back.
And this 5-day strike is going to cost 87 million quid to the NHS,
250,000 lost appointments and people. And this is not just This is not just words. People will die and they will miss out on cancer treatment. Because of those. I cannot, but I'd sack them all.
Yeah, I would.
Seriously.
Get rid of them. You know, people say, but they're all going to go and work in Australia. Or Canada. Well, let them go then. You know, because the irony of that, of course, is they'll be working in a partially private system, which they apparently claim that they don't want to do. But they don't mind going for the money. It is absolutely, they're so greedy. And also, this time around, they don't, Chloe, have the support of the public, do they? Because I think there's something like 2/3 of the public just say that we did support them last year and we did support them in the strike against the Tories.
It's gone down from
not
40% support to 33% support.
Nurses got 5.4%.
Yeah.
How can they... What? Really?
I know.
But also, when you sign up for a job in the public sector, you know what you're going to be earning. It's there on the blimmin' website. So what right do you have to say, I want this job, I'm going to take that job, and then say, but actually now I've got it, I'm not going to do it because I demand more money.
Also, many of the people who are quite young as junior doctors weren't even doctors in 2008, which is what they want to go back to parity for. So it's ridiculous.
I think it also raises a really interesting point about... I had a call yesterday from a mother of a junior doctor who said she's very happy with the job and doesn't want to strike and feels pressurised. And we always talk about Thatcher and the closed shop. It'd be interesting if they were forced to have a private vote on whether they... Because I think the BMA is massively left-wing activist, mad people, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be really interesting to see...
It's only a small number of doctors that have actually voted for this because the turnout on the vote was actually really tiny. So they've said, we got a majority, but out of the total number of doctors...
Wasn't it like only 3 out of 10 turned to vote and half of those voted for it? So you're talking about 15%.
Yeah, but guess what's going to happen next year? Because Angela Rayner will soon be lowering the threshold for actually going out on strike. You won't even have to have 50% of the people voting. So they can go out on strike if only 2 of them want to do it. You know, that's what we're going to be looking at in coming years. And I just think it's absolutely nothing nonsensical. And they've even admitted as well, the junior doctors and the BMA, that this will damage and harm patients. And they're still doing it.
They don't care.
They don't care. It's absolutely incredible.
Isn't that why you become a doctor? Because you want to live a life of service where you're
And what about the
helping
Hippocratic
people.
Oath?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hypocritical, isn't it?
Hypocritical oath.
The hypocritical oath is what I call
Let's
it.
call it that.
Absolutely. Now, coming up, you think you've got the absolute surefire winner, don't you? But I think you might get pipped at the post by mine, which is coming up next, right here on Plank of the Week.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Mike Graham.
Welcome back to Plank of the Week. We're into the final furlong, and I've got, as ever, a special mention before we get into the final nomination, because I quite like the idea of having a special mention.
Is it Kev O'Sullivan?
It's not Kev O'Sullivan, enough, but I'm sure he'll make it one week, though. I mean, there have been several... He's come close a couple of times.
Yeah.
No, special mention for Kemi Badenoch, because, in a week when, Keir Starmer was talking about how many houses he's got to give to migrants and to the homeless, in a week when Essex Police, it turns out, were up to no good, which I'll tell you about in a minute, over in Epping, and there was migrant hotels being sort of started up right, left and centre. So much news going on. Kemi Badenoch decides to have a reshuffle of her front bench team, which literally nobody cared about.
Nobody knew who they were.
Well, I mean,
anyway.
We've heard of James Cleverly. I mean, but probably not everybody has. But I mean, at least he's done something. But it was kind of like, what's the point? Why have you even bothered? And a lot of people ended up saying, well, clearly Kemi Badenoch's, refreshing her team because it's basically not working. Because Nigel Farage is making all the running. Nigel Farage launched his big anti-crime crusade this week. The Tories have done literally the square root of nothing. Bugger all. And you just think, well, what is the point of them? What is the point?
What is the point?
I think she knows that she's never going to be
toast.
Prime Minister. I think she knows that she's a stopgap thing. Bring Cleverly back. He stood. I think he's a fair chance of being the next. I don't know. Keep your enemies close. They are so much of a non-entity that they're not even in the discussion.
No. I like Cleverly though. I like Cleverly.
Yeah, but the point is the
but
Tories.
He's a typical
by the time,
centrist. Net zero loving you.
But the point is, Will, nobody likes the Tories.
No, that's true. And all it is window dressing.
Nobody's going to vote for them.
Anyway.
Look what happened to them in the local elections.
I think they could end up losing seats against the 120. I think they could end up with 60 or 70 seats.
There's a couple of current projections which say that they might get less than 50.
Yeah.
They'll be
I've
down
seen
to like
projections
40
where they're
seats.
down at about 10.
Yeah.
The way things are going, with everything kicking off today, I think Nigel's going to get every single seat in that parliament.
I think he will.
Well, we're going to play a little Nigel Farage clip in a minute, but basically the background to my final nomination, which is the Essex Police, is that last week a sort of a protest began out in Epping Forest, a lovely part of Essex, a very nice kind of, little town, villagey atmosphere. Everybody knows everybody else. It's it's not the Garden of England, that's Kent, but it's very similar to it, right? It turns out there's a migrant hotel there called the Bell Hotel, which has been used as a migrant hotel for about 5 years, but it's right next to a secondary school. And the reason that there was a protest is because a man who was being housed in that particular hotel was arrested and charged with a sex attack on a 14-year-old girl who was an attendee at the school, right? So the people, quite frankly, were fed up with it. They've said, we've had these people living here. The crime in the area is terrible. These migrants wander around. It's not safe for our kids. They were going out making a very, very peaceful protest. And then suddenly it all kind of ratcheted up a bit. And the police started arriving and all these Antifa and sort of left-wing activists started arriving wearing masks. And it all got a bit ugly. And the story, you could probably tell the story better than I can, Alex, because Peter Blexley appeared on your show last weekend to tell you a story, didn't he?
Yeah, he comes on my show and he says, Essex Police have been using their paddy wagons to put these far-left activists in, picking them up from the station and dropping them off at the protest. Yeah. And I was like, you've got... He said, there's video, Alex. And I said, well, that is crazy if that's what's happening. Because I'd heard people say to me after the Southport riots, saying they started off as quiet protests and all of a sudden all these people in ballies appeared and it got really ramped up and then bam, it was smacked back down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the argument... Is that being done deliberately?
Yeah, but so Essex Police, right, completely denied it, didn't they?
Put out a statement, an actual press statement, categorically denying that they did that. Yeah. AKA lied.
Yes.
Because they categorically
because
did.
Later in the week, the Daily Telegraph published the incredible story that in fact they had they had admitted that they actually went to pick up these activists from the station and they put them in their vans, drove them to where the protest was going on, and then took them back again after the protest was over.
Why?
Yeah. Well, there was a press conference. The guy in charge is Ben Julian Harrington, who's the boss of Essex Police, right? He's the chief constable. Ben Julian Harrington. He gave a press conference in which he said he's not going to resign. He said that there was no preferential treatment shown to anybody, which is clearly not true.
Has he answered why they were picking up?
Preferential or not? Why are you stoking the fire? You're supposed to be police that put the fire out.
Well, we were saying
and are you politically motivated to show the far right, apparently, is so bad?
Exactly. We were saying this week, and we're going to show you what Nigel Farage had to say in a minute, but he obviously was watching our show because we were saying this week, it's like taking football fans to the opposing side of the stadium, categorically escorting them to have a punch-up with the people from the other side. Yeah. Let's have a look at what Nigel Farage said.
Have a look at this video.
If these are locals, why are they getting a police car? Where time's the next bus? You wait 15 minutes for a bus and then 3 come all along at once. Look, they're all cramming in.
This shows stand up to racism, as they're called, with Antifa, a violent, thuggish group, arriving at the train station and literally, by Essex Police, being bussed to the Bell Hotel. These were the people that caused the disturbances. These were the people that caused the riots. Essex Police caused the disturbances. What on earth were Essex Police thinking? Is it that they just hate so much ordinary residents determined to stand up for their own rights? I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is what Essex Police have done here is absolutely disgraceful. One of the most extraordinary acts I've seen from the police force in my lifetime. And for bussing Antifa. Oh, and by the way, many of them masked protesters. For doing this, heads must roll.
This man, right, does one thing better than anybody right now. He speaks about everything that this country, in its entirety, I believe, is talking about and wanting to talk about.
And cares
That is absolutely outrageous.
I know, it really is. Well, let me tell you something else about the Essex Police. This is the same police who had Alison Pearson arrested, the Daily Telegraph writer, for a tweet, right? They're also the same people who, according to FOI stats, they arrest more than one person every day, on average, for speech-related crimes, OK?
Wow.
And also, in 2023, they solved just 13.35% of recorded offences. So they're not actually police anymore, they're activists now. I said this morning on my show, that if you have police who are acting like that, you are creating an absolute powder keg, because people will go, you're not the police anymore, you're the same as that lot over there with the balaclavas on, so we're just going to start attacking you.
Mike,
that's what's going to happen.
It's almost like we've got enough problem with foreign state actors, hostile state actors, who are basically encouraging various, particularly the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas demonstrations. We know that they've been involved in investing into bad actors to basically get amongst it, to cause certain chaos far up and everything else. And that's not just obviously in a physical sense, it's obviously online as well. But to have our own police forces involved in this, I mean...
Well, you have to wonder what else they're doing. You have to wonder how often...
And looking at Southport and looking at any other major... And we're coming into a period of civil disobedience.
I think Alex used the perfect word there.
Yeah.
It's chilling.
Yeah, it is chilling.
I think big questions now have to be asked about the Southport words. I remember them. I was presenting all that week. They started off as similar. Men and women walking around saying, save our kids, right? It started off exactly the same. Then within about 3 days, and you can go back, Google online the news pictures of the time. You got the big sort of Jimmy Five bells, you know, shouting and all the rest of it. But then you have this seam in the middle of men dressed like ninjas with black ballies, young, fit, healthy-looking men who seem to be right in the mix, doing, you know, pushing people forward, throwing things.
Absolutely. Listen.
And I'm like, the average person doesn't have a black bally in their cupboard.
No. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a balaclava.
I think there's something very funny
there's something
going
very
on.
weird about it. And as a result of that, I'm afraid, I think I'm going to have to award myself the Essex Police as Plank of the Week. Because,
by a mile.
By a mile, because it's absolutely incredible. And this story has got a long way to go. I think this guy, Chief Constable Harrington, who also claimed back in 2021 that hate speech is amongst the greatest threats to his county, right?
Really?
I'm afraid this guy's out of a job, I bet. Before
I'd have him arrested.
The end of July. I think he's going to have to reconsider. Anyway, so Plank of the Week goes to Chief Constable Harrington and the Essex Police. Thank you, Jeremy.
So you won your own show?
I have, I mean, I try not to do it too often, you know, because people get upset.
Why did we turn
Try not to fix it too often.
Jeremy, Alex, Will and Chloe, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back same time next week with more Plank of the Week.